I don't have time.
Narration.
We're genetically engineered to stop aging at 25.
But why? Does this movie ever explain how this came to be? No, it does not. Just deal with it.
Time is now the currency.
Movie chooses an expositional monologue that reveals the central conceit of the movie instead of showing it to us in a much more interesting way without context.
I just want to wake up with more time on my hand than hours in the day.
But if you were down to around 24 hours, why would you even sleep? You've got a f***ing day to live, yo. Get out there and hustle some more hours. How much hardware is required to make this on-the-skin display bullshit even work? This is like 3 surgeries worth of bullshit, right? You can't do this with genetic modification.
Happy 50th.
Yep, that's his mom. Even though the actor Timberlake is a few years older than Olivia Wilde, this movie's understanding of time allows for them to appear to be the same age. Thanks, not Philip K. Dick.
25 for the 25th time.
Actually, if she's 50 years old, she'd be 25 for the 26th time, but Justin wasn't told there would be math involved in this movie heavily reliant on math.
I was sure I'd have a grandchild by now.
So Will is 28 years old, perfect baby-making age, but since everyone's bodies remain physically 25, does that mean everyone can procreate into their hundreds?
I can make extra on the side, you know.
Start fighting? Nobody wins.
In that case, the bookie should be pretty upset.
I just wouldn't know what to do if I lost you.
Reverse foreshadow irony. So shaking hands with someone in this universe results in time-changing hands? It's not like they have timers or controllers in this scene. They just clasp hands and then watch the clocks on their wrists. I mean, how many times have folks in this world given up their time on accident just because they touched someone else the wrong way?
Let me give you 30 minutes so you can have a decent lunch.
How does the arm timer know when to stop? Is it controlled by the brain? It stopped at 30 minutes donated flat. How did it do that? I'd be goddamned if this movie explains anything. The name of this beer is a nice time-related pun, but it costs an hour? Earlier, Will's mom gave him 30 minutes for a decent meal, but a fucking six-pack will set an average person back 4% of their lifespan.
There's another one. Broad daylight.
And his corpse is just hanging out in the middle of the workforce. Does this movie need Sally Field to step in and organize a union? In the future, money will be replaced by time, genetic modification is rampant, and yet factories will still somehow need to employ humans to operate a lever. I think the scariest part of this future is that we'll be wearing 8-button suits.
Don't worry, I won't do anything stupid. Go.
I'm only going to obviously stand here and watch some guys kill another guy from 20 feet away. That's not stupid, right?
And that's, is a very nice watch.
This statement brings up an interesting point. Why don't more people have watches in this movie? Sure, they have time printed on their arm, but that's only the time they have left. What if they have a doctor's appointment or want to catch a movie? Is anyone going to notice the obvious Timberlake bystander in the background? No? Okay.
I need a moment.
Not only does Henry ludicrously ask for a moment to puke before he dies, these assholes give it to him.
You ready to go?
Ready to go.
Wait, Will was standing in the stall this whole time? He couldn't have come in after Henry since the goon followed him, so he had to know Henry was going to do some pre-death vomiting. Jesus, this movie has already broadcast that its brain wasn't a line item in the budget. This dumpster that was easily movable by Will is somehow able to hold off many strong men from opening the door.
I know who took him. I know who he is.
Also, how the f*** does Discount Ryan Phillippe know who Will is? He didn't have one look at his face when he got knocked out in the bathroom.
You'll be safe till morning. I'll get you out of here.
Yeah, I'm sure those large men with guns are just going to forget all about this incident, even though at least one of them is literally outside the front door and I'm standing in plain sight.
I'm 105. But the day comes when you've had enough. Your mind can be spent even if your body's not.
Sure, but Henry's whole suicide by drunken fight with gangsters plan ensures those fuckers get his time, instead of donating it to people who could really use it.
Why do you think there are time zones?
Because the Earth is gigantic?
The truth is, there's more than enough. No one has to die before their time.
But what is everyone's time? Movie yada yadas past sickness, murder, accidents, and any other cause of death besides running out of fucking time. This plot would be perfect for a Twilight Zone episode, but instead is stretched out to a whole movie. I'm honestly surprised those assholes with guns who were directly outside this building last night decided not to inspect it. First off, this is some pretty goddamn non-consensual time swapping here. Don't you have to have a willing participant before you go sticking your minutes inside someone? Also, earlier it took Will's mom a decent chunk of time to transfer 30 minutes to him, but Henry transfers more than a fucking century in less than 8 fucking seconds. Even goddamn newborns have the green timers? Did they somehow make this green clock bullshit part of the common genetic code? The fuck?
Look at this.
Where did you get that?
Even though he saw the dude last night that had all the time, Burrell must think there's a possibility Will ran into another person that might have gifted him some sweet future currency.
A decade.
After being chided for having too much obvious time, which will get him killed in this zone, Will gives Burrell a bunch of obvious time in the hopes it won't get him killed in this zone.
Loan payment received. 2 days.
2 hours.
It's a 2-hour walk.
God damn it, movie. Mama Salas just looked all happy about making her loan payment that was 2 fucking days, but she only left herself an hour and a half? And after paying what she thought was the 1-hour bus fare, she'd have 30 fucking minutes? If it's a 2-hour fucking walk, the bus ride must take at least 30 minutes, especially with stops. This stupid fucking movie takes an awesome premise and pisses all over it. Let's just be honest. We've all had a dream where Olivia Wilde was our mother, right? Oh, you imagined her as your... Oh, God, that's nasty. What's wrong with you? Oh, they're both running? Well, then I guess she's gonna die within sight of him, eh? Mom dies because she stupidly spent all her time on a loan payment and didn't have enough to make it to meet her son, who is suddenly flush with currency cliché.
No! No!
I'm sorry, but Timberlake's crying over his mom's death here is pretty f***ing hilarious. And you thought the crying Jordan meme was over the top.
How long you been keeping time, Jaeger?
5 years.
Let me know what you think when you've been doing it for 50.
Wow, sick burn, detective. But if this guy's been on the force for 5 years, shouldn't he already be aware how long you've been doing this?
What would you like us to do, sir?
What we always do. Follow the time.
You know, kind of like Prince and the Revolution did in Purple Rain.
I'll give you 10 minutes for an hour.
This is the most confusing proposition of all time.
We don't normally make pickups in this zone.
So how the f*** did Will get the contact information for this transport service? And why didn't anyone in Dayton notice this nice-ass car? Where and when did Will get this fancy-ass-looking suit? Did he bury his mother already? Why is this movie so dumb? Man, he's blowing past all the other time zones he's never experienced, missing out on the famous sights and pleasures each might have to offer above the only zone he's ever known, the outermost super poor zone. Sure, he's obviously got some kind of goal, but all I'm saying is he's acting like only the very richest, most exclusive time zone has anything interesting to offer, which can't possibly be true.
I'm gonna take them for everything they've got.
That escalated quickly. He went from my mom just died to f*** the entire system up in like a day. Also, driver continues to casually drive after hearing an obvious threat to his way of life. Supposedly utopian New Greenwich looks a lot more like suburban Galveston. Totally by happenstance, JT shows up here just as the redheaded wig girl is arriving and longing for someone to stare at. Also, JT, Olivia Wilde, and Amanda Seyfried? This is like a Sean Hattussi or Dominique Swain appearance away from being a full-bore Alpha Dog reunion.
He's fast.
It's gonna have to be.
But they must have just seen Henry die alone, without Will even touching him. So why do they immediately think he's the one that took his time?
That'll be 8.5 weeks.
Dang, 1 week shy of a Mickey Rourke movie. Also, let's break this down. A standard room is 2 months or 60 days. Breakfast is 8.5 weeks, or basically 60 days. A room here and breakfast here cost the exact same. Think about that. This society is either devaluing hotel rooms or way overvaluing eggs. I probably don't have to tell you this about JT, but as long as he's got that suit and tie, he's gonna leave it all on the floor tonight. So he's got 100 years, told the limo driver he's here to f*** up the entire system, and he goes gambling? How much high-stakes poker did he play back in the slums to be this f***ing confident? Also, good to know that in the dystopian future, people will not only still be playing Texas Hold'em, but it'll still be a f***ing sausage fest. Wait, is this shot telling me he now has 250 years? He's won 150 years at poker already, and no one thought to discuss who he was or where he came from until now? So if she's not outside the hotel right when JT arrives to get infatuated with him, none of the rest of the movie is even possible. Just FYI.
Always been survival of the fittest. Raise you another 2 centuries.
Literally down to his last 27 seconds. What a stupid f***ing bet. Not to mention, if that small talk about survival of the fittest had gone on even 30 seconds longer, this bet might not even have gone through. But mostly, what a stupid f***ing bet. And Sylvia quietly climaxes under the table. Also, yeah, he wins. What the f*** ever. I don't think this movie poker's any better than it futures.
That was some risk.
That was some understatement.
Display it. Hell, I'm gonna drive it.
Man, Will's plan to take down the cultural elite to avenge his mom's death by gambling and buying expensive cars is going perfectly.
And my daughter Sylvia. I believe you two have already met.
Philippe says this slyly, like he didn't introduce them to each other 2 movie minutes ago. And we have yet another example of the screenwriters cramming unnecessary James Bondian cliches into the script. Okay, Will is smart enough to know that Philippe is not to be trusted. So therefore, dancing with Philippe's daughter is dangerous, but apparently the allure of the redhead is too much for Will. These two are able to run away from the party without a single escort, bodyguard, or even a curious voyeur.
We don't go in.
How did you evolve to be afraid of the ocean? Or is it somehow poison, but instead of saying it's poisoned, you say...
You're insane.
Their time codes be glowing while Will Salas be growing. And yes, those time codes would be emitting light and all, but they've never been shown to be this bright. It's like we needed a way to show the leads' faces while they're skinny dipping in the grotto section of the ocean. They both got dried off and back into their clothes in basically record time for this scene to be possible.
How about that game?
Jesus, who's the actual antagonist in this movie? Papa Weiss? The detective? New Greenwich? The gangsters in Dayton? Time itself? Andrew Nichol? These cops bust in and grab Will for questioning, and then take him upstairs in the house the party is going on in. The f***? While Will gets questioned in an 18th century French parlor, I'm left to ask about the guards' guns. What are they for? Can you shoot someone who still has tons of time on their wrist? And if you do, what happens to that time? And also, who thought sea green and gold was a good combination for this room? I can only assume Will's plan to upend society is going as scheduled, and that he intended to get all his time taken and himself imprisoned.
Put it down or I'll blow her head off.
This is a gathering of some of the richest people in the world. Security is tight, and there's a gaggle of policemen to arrest Will, but only one asshole is out here guarding the parking lot. Pretty amazing that you can see New Greenwich's skyscrapers from the same angle here as in Dayton. I gotta ask, coming from the slums, has he even driven before? My point is that he shouldn't have enough driving experience to be this good, but yet he does. No cop trailing a fleeing suspect with a hostage would ever ram the car the hostage is in. That's f***ing laughable, movie. I know you need action and tension, but try to leave at least a 10% connection to reason. Not only was Leon the only police officer to give chase from the house, he immediately gives up after getting into a fender bender.
Keep that covered. Anybody sees it, you're definitely dead.
But why? Unless they warp back to the ghetto somehow, they're still in New Greenwich, which should be the safest place in the world. Will had a little more than an hour left after they escaped from the house party, and it was pitch dark, but now it's broad daylight, and he's very not dead. They both survived this. I can't tell, is it irony or incompetence that has these same officers back at the same LA River for yet another crime scene? I mean, it's cyclical, right?
He's back in his old neighborhood.
F***ing how? Even if it doesn't cost any time to get from the rich zone to the poor zone, there were barriers and checkpoints going both ways on the trip to New Greenwich. Look, I know they're in the ghetto and everything, but Will's walking down the middle of the goddamn street with a gun pointed at Sylvia.
Will, look out!
Well, thank God he gave her a gun, am I right?
You've been shot. I was worried you timed out.
But I took my sweet-ass time getting here just in case.
We look cute together.
Well, maybe. That should still be like the 15th furthest thing from your mind right now after escape, 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 and 12 more escape thoughts.
You've forgotten I shot a cop.
Are timekeepers really cops? I thought they just kept track of time for the various districts, but do they investigate other non-time-related criminal acts like arson?
You can go back.
Go back to what?
I don't know. Security? Immortality? Caviar? Is that objectionable?
I don't have a choice.
I'm starting to think that I don't either.
Movie veers jarringly into a meditation of life and the meaning of existence and the disparity between classes in a society, and I could not give fewer shits. Romance by proximity. There's almost no reason for them to be kissing, except the last few hours spent together, and a bit of Stockholm Syndrome. This map informs us that Philippe is on the phone with the American West Coast, the entirety of Europe, most of Central Africa, and Moscow, which means, I guess the rest of the world is ghettoized? What about f***ing Hawaii? After being recently shot in the streets of the ghetto, Detective Red Eye is right back to eviling without any difficulty.
This is called a trigger, and you don't pull it until you actually want to shoot something.
First off, these two have hours left, but somehow they have time for witty banter and target practice. Second, she just shot the moving detective that was about to kill Will, so I don't think she needs much direction on firearms.
I can help you get all the time you want.
And finally, Will's take them for all they're worth plan pays off, after countless instances where he could have and should have died prior to this. This was the plan, to steal an armored truck and ram it into a bank that for some reason has a wide open vault. Okay, fine, but why did Will need Sylvia for this caper? He couldn't have come up with this on his own. Why has nobody tried this before if it's this easy?
Come on, help yourselves! Take it!
Causing a literal riot for your getaway. I mean, there is no question 1/4 of these people are dead by the time this bank vault is emptied, right?
No one's watching their clocks, huh?
At this point, I'm willing to believe Leon is actually a series of clones, considering he's able to get from the ghetto to New Greenwich and back in seconds.
Sylvia Weis withdrew some of her inheritance when she and Will Salas robbed her father's time bank for the 6th time in a week.
The f***ing 6th time? How are the banks not hip to the whole drive an armored truck through the front door scheme after the first one? Also, shouldn't the timekeepers just be keeping an eye out for the f***ing armored truck that has dents and glass shards all over it?
Why'd I play strip poker with you?
Why did you?
I'd wager it's because it's been 40 minutes since this movie showed any skin. Will's character was introduced as a fighter, but his biggest attribute thus far has been long-distance running, which is obviously much more entertaining than seeing him actually fight someone.
You two look familiar.
How about now?
Goddamn, everyone in this movie is motivated by currency over everything else.
And I'm gonna clean the clocks off of every one of you in this hellhole until someone says something I want to hear.
Gotta be honest, no idea who this guy is. I know I've seen him a couple times in this movie and he's clearly bad, but other than that, I'm f***ing lost. With a reward like 10 years, these two are screwed, right? I mean, 10 years in the ghetto is like 100 years elsewhere, right?
If they catch us, there's no way they won't kill us, is there?
Movie that started off as 1984, then morphed into Casino Royale, then became Robin Hood, now wants to be Bonnie and Clyde. Well, I guess they're in love now then, eh?
Fortunately for you, I don't like to kill a man in cold blood.
I like to give him the plot information, let him escape easily, then futilely chase him for a few minutes before giving up. That's my kind of thing.
After I take you, I'll take her.
All bad guys are rapists. These arm wrestling fights make no goddamn sense. First, we've never seen an actual fight to this point in the movie, so there's no point of reference. Second, how the f*** does it work? Is it a battle of wills? Of strength? Of who can pad the movie's runtime the longest? Listen, if all these f***ers were just standing around staring at this fight while Will pulls out a f***ing gun, they deserve to die.
Stop!
Sylvia Weis, the most wanted woman in every time zone, is able to not only travel from Dayton back to New Greenwich, but can walk the through the front door of this building. You see, this is what happens when you don't properly check references. You mistakenly hire the guy who kidnapped your daughter at gunpoint and is actively trying to bring down your international banking scheme. Wait, last we saw these two, they were all the way over in the slumps, and then they get an idea and waltz all the way back to New Greenwich without any trouble at any of the time zone stops?
Let's go for a ride.
And the three of them got away with no one following. Phew.
And wire me my per diem. Wait, never mind. I have him.
Yes, but does Leon really think, even in the best of circumstances, that this arrest will take less than 45 minutes? And couldn't he pursue them while he's getting his per diem?
Wait, never mind. I have him.
Yep, that's right, kids. I just happened to drive past the people I'm looking for in this huge city, because movie. If I gave any more I'd literally be upset they've now set it up to have Dayton directly adjacent to New Greenwich, even though there should be several other time zones between them. Is that thing bulletproof somehow? Or did no one shoot at the tires? This movie suggests a crowd of desperate poor people would all share in the spoils evenly, which anyone who has ever studied American history can tell you is a farce and a half. Yeah, I know, it's personal and all now, but isn't Leon still more concerned about the system crashing than these two criminals? The million-year capsule is right in the middle of town, for God's sake.
One of us can make it. Take mine.
You take mine.
Arguing over who should go will almost definitely end up killing both these fools, or at least it should. What are the odds that this guy once again finds himself literally racing toward a female he hopes to save with his time and cutting it too close? I mean, yeah, parallel narratives or whatever, but the odds still make this seem kind of stupid. Wait, Sylvia's been running all this fucking way in heels? Despite being on TV levels of wanted, neither of these fools have changed their appearance yet.
Singing killed my grandma, okay?
Dance with me.
Night swimming. So, your idea is to get a van and cruise the streets looking for kids to pick up?
Yes, it's Peter Campbell from Sterling Cooper for Clarence Hastings.
You guys know so much about women. How come you're here at, like, a gas and sip on a Saturday night completely alone drinking beers? No women anywhere.
By choice, man. That's why, man. It's a conscious choice.